The two-hand tie is a vital skill for OBGYN providers, but there can often be confusion when learning how to tie regarding left-handed versus right-handed ties, and knowing whether or not the knots you are tying are actually laying down flat. So the goal of this video is to share a novel technique for a two-hand tie that is not specifically right or left-handed, but focuses more on determining an action hand and an anchor hand, allowing you to adapt to different situations. First, I will break down each step in detail, and then we can put everything together so you can see the final result. To start, you want the strings crossed away from you. In this current demonstration, we are crossing the left string, or the pink string, over the right string. However, this technique can be utilized with either string on top. Once your strings are crossed, you can see we have created a loop. And the goal of the first step is to wrap your top string around your bottom string and move it through the loop, allowing your first throw to lay flat across the wound. To accomplish this goal, we will start with our strings in a pistol grip position as shown. Next, we need to determine which hand will be our action hand and which will be our anchor hand. To do so, with your hands in the pistol grip position, use your thumbs and index fingers to match the layout of the strings, with your thumbs on the bottom and your index fingers crossing the same way the strings are crossed, left over right in this example. Whichever index finger is crossed over the top is now the action hand, and it will remain the action hand for all knots of this suture. The other hand is your anchor hand, which should just guide the strings to your action hand. So with your action hand, put your thumb through the loop and use your anchor hand to guide the top string into a pincer grasp of the action hand. Once secure in your pincer grasp, rotate your action hand towards you to guide the string through the loop, and then pull it through with your anchor hand. As you secure the throw down on the wound, you can see that it lays down flat. Let me show you that again. So I have my strings crossed and I have created a loop. I've matched the strings with my fingers, making this my action hand. With my action hand, I put my thumb through the loop, pincer grasp my top string, rotate it toward me, pull through, and lay it down flat. Now before we move on to the second throw, feel free to pause and practice, or go back and watch this throw again. For the second throw, you can keep your hands in the pistol grip, but instead of matching the strings, you want to use your action hand to scoop your thumb under the string, so that the string is now wrapped around your thumb. With your anchor hand, loop the other tail around and over your thumb in the opposite direction to create an X on your thumb, and a loop with your thumb going through the middle of that loop, just as it did in the first throw. Similarly, the goal is to wrap the top string around the bottom one and go through the loop. To do so, use the pincer grasp to create an O with your thumb and index finger. Rotate it towards yourself so that both your thumb and index finger go through the loop. Open your pincer grasp to take hold of the tail from your anchor hand. Once secure, rotate your pincer grasp away from you to guide your string through the loop and then pull it through with your anchor hand. The final step is to lay your knot down flat. If you look at your strings immediately after pulling through, you will notice that the strings are crossed. Laying the knot down in this orientation will not result in a flat, secure knot. So you need to cross your hands to lay the knot down flat. Without letting go of the tails, uncross your hands and return to your neutral position. This puts you right back where you started, with the pink strand on top and the white strand on the bottom. So we are ready for the first throw again. This second throw can be tricky, so feel free to go back and watch it again and practice if needed before putting it all together. Now, let's put it all together from the beginning. The first step is to determine what our action hand is. I'm going to match the layout of my strings with my thumbs on the bottom and my index fingers crossing in the same manner as the strings. Remember, your action hand is your top hand, and your bottom hand is your anchor. So, I'm going to put the thumb of my action hand through the loop, pincer grasp my top string, rotate toward me, pull it through, and lay it down. I stay in my pistol grip, I rotate under so I have an L, come over to create this X, make an O, rotate toward me, pincer grasp, rotate away, pull through, and cross my hands to lay it down flat. Without letting go of my strings, I uncross my hands, and I'm back where I started. My action hand is the same. So I put my thumb through, pincer grasp, rotate toward me, pull through, and lay it down flat. Make my L, cross, rotate toward me, rotate away from me, pull through, and cross to go down. And I'm back where I started. Action hand, through, lay it down flat, L, over, rotate toward me, pincer grasp, rotate away, and cross to lay it down flat. As you can see, I have these nice square knots. I will next show you what this technique looks like to do it with your other hand. As you can see, we are back to the start with our strings crossed. However, in this case, the right string is crossed over the left string. So again, to determine my action hand, I'm in my pistol grip, and I'm going to match the layout of the strings with my thumb and index fingers. However, in this case, this hand is my top hand, meaning it will be my action hand, and this hand underneath will be my anchor hand. The steps are the same. The thumb of my action hand will go through the loop I created. Pincer grasp my top string, rotate it under and through the loop, and pull it down flat. I take my action hand and loop my thumb under to create an L, and then wrap the other tail around my thumb in the opposite direction to create this X. Make my O, rotate toward me, pincer grasp, rotate away, pull it through, and then cross my hands the other direction to get it to lay down flat. Without letting go of my strings, uncross my hands, and I'm back to where I started. So action hand, thumb goes through the loop, pincer grasp my top string, rotate it towards me, pull through, lay it down flat, scoop and make an L, come over the top to make an X, make an O, rotate through, pincer grasp, rotate away, and cross my hands to lay it down flat. As you can see, I again have nice square knots. As you practice throwing these knots, take some time to try unique starting positions so that you feel proficient no matter what the circumstances are. By not relying on a specific right-handed versus left-handed method, this tie allows you to adapt in any situation. Whether the strings are handed to you by a colleague or you are tying at a different angle than you are used to, you can feel confident that you are throwing flat, secure knots.